Breaking news on Seattle Seahawks today, as Seattle has indeed made a trade for a pass rusher. They are getting former Bengals defensive end Carlos Dunlap. We talked a lot about Dunlap on this show, about being a potential fit for the Seahawks, and they got him pretty darn cheap. It makes a lot of sense for the Bengals, and I think for the Seahawks side of things, it was very clear that Dunlap wanted out of Cincinnati. He was unhappy with a reduced role. They altered the scheme when Zach Taylor came in, and he wasn't as good of a fit anymore. The dude played 12 snaps against the Browns and was actively trying to force his way out. He gets his wish, and for Seattle, it's pretty damn cheap. In fact, I thought the Bengals might be able to get a little bit more for Dunlap, but his value had continued to head in the wrong direction. Here are the trade details. The Seahawks get Carlos Dunlap. The Bengals are getting BJ Finney, the offensive lineman who I thought was going to start at center, but he did not win the job and yet to play a snap this year for Seattle. He still might start for the Bengals in their bad offensive line, and a 7th-round draft pick. So give me your one-word reaction to this Dunlap trade by the Seattle Seahawks. Is it good? Is it a wow? Is it strong, solid? Let me know what you're thinking in the comments section. I'm going to go with smart, and then another word I think I'll throw in there is cheap. Look, the Bengals and Dunlap, they'd fallen apart. That relationship had completely become a disaster. Dunlap was out there leaking the team's rotations, putting his house up for sale on Twitter. He had one sack. He actually finishes, by the way, one sack short of the Bengals franchise mark. He's disappointed to not get that one. But 2019 Dunlap was still pretty good. 13 tackles for loss, 9 sacks, 8 pass breakups. He's always been a really good player at getting his hands up and blocking passes. He was a good football player. And for Seattle, he fills an absolutely glaring, massive, screaming need at pass rusher. LJ Collier, who's played some inside and outside, still coming along. Hasn't been all that great. Demontre Moore has occasionally shown some flashes, along with Alton Robinson as well. Benson Mayowa had been the team's most consistent pass rusher, but the Seahawks are able to buy low, and from a pure talent and productive perspective over the past couple years, by far the best pass rusher now on this roster. Now, Dunlap will not be able to play in the Seahawks' upcoming game this week. That's why the Seahawks are getting ahead of this and getting him in time for the first game after the trade deadline ends on next Tuesday, but it's a good move for Seattle. They needed a pass rusher, and they found one cheap. And they're giving up a player that wasn't even playing for them. BJ Finney was a backup interior offensive lineman. Now, the Bengals need offensive line. I think that's why the Seahawks and Bengals made so much sense as trade partners. But I like this move for Seattle. To give up BJ Finney and a 7th rounder, that's really nothing. Heck, moving on from Finney saves you some cap space to afford Carlos Dunlap for this year. It's a little under $5 million, by the way, for him this year, and a non-guaranteed $11.25 million salary. Next year, he'll be cut. But moving on from Finney and a draft pick means if the Seahawks really want to get wild with it, they can still make some more trades. Is that something that you guys want? Get your votes in right now for me. It is a Y for yes or an N for no. Should Seattle make more trades before this year's NFL trade deadline? Now, I was going to make Carlos Dunlap a heavy part of the rumors video we were going to do today and a trade candidates video or trade targets video we were going to do on Thursday. Still probably do that trade targets video for you guys because we're going to keep you covered on everything around the Seahawks. When breaking news happens, when there's juicy stuff to discuss, we'll break it down. Videos almost every single day. So if you haven't already, hit that big red button and subscribe. Now, the sack leaders, again, back to this discussion around the Seahawks. The pass rush, not good. Jamal Adams had been the best pass rusher for this Seahawks team. Benson Mayowa had done a decent job of generating pressure, but I think the loss against Arizona really showed Seattle, hey, you know what? Man, we need more. Because I know Murray's very dynamic, Kyler Murray, and is able to avoid pressure very well. Seattle got no sacks and no hits on him. It's rough. LJ Collier's not done enough here. So getting Carlos Dunlap, as a veteran will cost you less than $5 million for the rest of the season, instantly I think becomes the team's most talented pass rusher, is a smart move. Now, he's probably a rental because his $11.25 million salary next year, non-guaranteed by the way, is a little bit expensive, probably something that team won't pick up, but maybe he balls out. Who knows? But I think adding Dunlap helps Seattle make a Super Bowl push, and that's the goal for this organization. Russell Wilson is in the midst of an MVP caliber season. It's the defense so far that has not held up its end of the bargain enough. So are the Seahawks the best team in the NFL? It's 1 for yes, 2 for no, and if you're typing in 1 for yes, I would go bet on Seattle to win the Super Bowl. The odds are a little bit lower than what they've been the past few weeks, and I think they're the best team in the NFC. Head over to chatsports.com/bet. Use promo code Seahawks125. That will give you a 125% deposit bonus. What that means is you can put some money down on Seattle to win the Super Bowl, and because you're getting an extra 125 when you put down $100, you still got plenty of money left over. So go check it out. It's chatsports.com/bet. Use that promo code Seahawks125. Seattle is in a very tough race in the best division in football in the NFC West. Cardinals have the tiebreaker advantage over the LA Rams, at least for now. But Seattle at 5-1, I think they are a really good football team, but the schedule isn't easy. Now again, they will not have Dunlap this week against the San Francisco 49ers, but they will have him when they hit the meat of this schedule. 3 straight games against teams for now that are 5-2. The Buffalo Bills, the LA Rams, and the Arizona Cardinals. Those are going to be very difficult games for Seattle. Getting some boost in the pass rush with Carlos Dunlap is going to help. So in the end, I like this move for Seattle. In terms of grades, I think it's at least a B. I mean, he gave up a late 7th round pick, a dude that's probably not going to make it in the NFL. A backup offensive lineman helped save you some money for a player who had nerfed his own trade value because he didn't want to be in Cincinnati anymore because he didn't get along with the coaching staff. I think a change of scenery will be very beneficial to a player that historically has been one of the better pass rushers in the NFL. It was cheap for Seattle. I think he'll be a better player than what he was in Cincinnati. I like this move for the Seahawks. A shrewd decision that's fairly cheap and helps them out at their biggest position of need as they go all in trying to win a Super Bowl with Russell Wilson playing at an MVP level.